What's poppin', YouTube dwellers? So I finally made it out to you guys. I am Shonen Queen, much like the manga Shonen Jump Weekly. You guys get the gist. At any rate, I am going to be starting a YouTube podcast channel. This is going to be my first one, so please bear with me. We're going to be touching down on a bunch of stuff that you guys all know and love, such as anime, manga, cosplay, a bit of what I do, or at least did do before, coronavirus started. At any rate, can't wait till this shit is over. At any rate, cosplay, we're going to be talking about mainstream anime, underground anime, we're going to be talking about voice actors, we're going to be talking about openings, endings, basically the whole 9 yards when it comes to the community and the basically world of anime. So I'm not an expert, but anime is a passion of mine. So I figured why not do something with it? I watch so much anime, I do so much cosplay, and I figured let me do something. Give back a little. Um so I'm just gonna throw this out here right now. For some of you guys, some of these videos may contain spoilers, and I do apologize. So I will give you a heads up and a warning if I do videos that may contain spoilers for some viewers, which will most likely be all videos. So just a heads up, throwing out on the first video, but I will continue to, warn you guys. So you're not just sitting here watching like, why is she saying all this stuff? I haven't even seen it yet because it's a podcast. I'm giving you my opinion on, the series, the show, the episodes, so on and so forth. At any rate, let's get into it, right? So, this particular video right here is going to be about one of my favorites. Well, not one of my favorites, but one that I do adore. Um, Dead Man Wonderland. All right. You dig it? Now, Dead Man Wonderland hits home for me. I saw it first when I was really young. And at that particular time, I did not really like it because for some of you, for those who have seen it, you know that Dead Man Wonderland is a gory slash, I guess, somewhat of a thriller action anime. And at the time, I wasn't really a big gory fan, but as I got older, I think when I turned 14 was the second time that I had tried to watch it. And that's when I was kind of like, okay, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I can dig it. I got you. At any rate, when I was around 14, I saw it again and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm feeling it. It's actually a pretty decent plot. And then I read the manga and I was like, oh yeah, okay, I like it. I'm feeling it. Um, Dead Wonderland is based around this middle school kid. His name is Ganta. Now, Ganta starts out as your average middle school kid in any anime. Kind of like it gives you this slice of life type vibe when it starts out. He's going to school, he's around all his friends who he adore and he loves and he's gone through so much with, and they give you like a little bit of a flashback on the trips that they had taken prior to the one that they're about to. So they're discussing taking a trip to this prison called Deadman Wonderland. Apparently, their school had prepared a field trip for them to check it out. And Ganto wasn't feeling it at first. And he was like, well, anything will be better than this, the last field trip. And so class starts and they're all getting down to their usual lives, and I don't know where Ganta's like chilling and he looks to the side and it's this floating man. Now, just throwing this out there, they're on the third floor. And this like figure slowly starts like floating down and kind of throws him off. I mean, it would throw anybody off. If you like sitting on the third floor and there's a man floating in the air, you're gonna be sitting there looking like, okay, I'm get the fuck out of here. That's what the fuck I'm about to do. I'm not gonna sit over here and be looking like I'm not about to investigate. I'm sorry. As you guys can all see, I'm black and we don't deal with that. Nope. No ma'am, no ham, no turkey. At any rate, um, his whole classroom dies. The man in the floating man in the sky kills them all except Ganta. Now, Ganta got hit in the chest with some sort of crystal, but later on, we all discover that it is a virus of some sort. I believe it's like a little virus or an infection, something that gets something in his bloodstream going. But I'll get a little further into that in a little bit. At any rate, he kills everybody except Ganta, but he does strike Ganta with some weird crystal that eventually disappears. So when all of this is said and done, rather than investigating, they're just like, oh well, he's the only survivor, so clearly he must have done it, because there's absolutely no way that anybody could have gone in there from the third floor. Nobody got in there from the third floor. There's no sign of a break in through the door. I mean, they clearly did not do their job. At any rate, um, they're like, he did it. Inside job, he did it. Only survivor. Wrap it up. We got this. We got it in the bag. And then his lawyer, which he did not hire, Tamaki. As soon as I heard Tamaki, I thought of Oran High School Host Club, Tamaki Suo. But anyways, that's what I think of every time I hear the name Tamaki now. But that's another story for another video. At any rate, this dude named Tamaki is like, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna get you through this. Do not worry. We're gonna beat it. We're gonna beat it. I got your back, my G. We gonna beat it. I got your back. And fucked him over. Mm-mm. He's gone. Didn't do nothing to help him. All right? Did nothing to help him. So, in some way and somehow, he basically got a false video of him basically admitting to the crime, which he did not do. Obviously, we all know that he didn't do it. But some way Tamaki found a way to implant a video of him admitting to the crime, which got him maximum punishment. Well, he got served maximum punishment before the viewing of the video. And he got sent to the prison that we all know as Deadman Wonderland. Now, Deadman Wonderland has kind of basically this weird system where there is death row inmates and, just inmates serving time. So they all have a collar. I don't really know what exactly happens with people that are not on death row, but I do know that if you are on death row, you get a collar that gives you 72 hours. And every 272 hours you have to consume this piece of candy, which basically adds an additional 72 hours onto the collar. And if you don't, then you're basically KO'd. The collar injects some weird toxic into your bloodstream and kills you within 10 seconds. Which is very, very crazy. It's crazy. But he gets into the prison, and that's when he meets my waifu of the show, the warden, this big tittied um, sadist of sorts. But I mean, she runs her prison. She make her money. Uh, but not only do we meet her, but we also meet Rio. Rio, who is a thief and will later become one of his allies of sorts. So when he first meets Ganta, he steals his candy, the candy that he needs in order to continue to live with the collar around his neck, and so on and so forth. Not only does he meet Rio, but he also meets Shiro. Um, I'm going to get a little bit more into Rio a little bit later, but Shiro plays a bigger role in the series than Rio does. So Shiro, who by the way I do cosplay, Shiro is this. There's some cats outside my. There's some cats outside my home fighting. Please excuse that. They fight all the time. At any rate, so Shiro is this albino chick that grew up in the prison. She grew up in Deadman Wonderland, and a lot of people like that watch the series is like, "What's with Shiro? Is she prison inmate? What's going on? And I'm here to answer those questions. So, Shiro was raised as a social experiment in Deadman Wonderland within the prison. All she's known her whole life is the prison. Now she's kind of like a child to Tamaki's father. Tamaki's father owns Deadman Wonderland. He's like the head honcho of the entire prison, and he adores Shiro. I don't quite get their relationship very much. I unfortunately did not finish the manga, but I do intend on. And when I do, I will be making a second video to this. This is kind of just a starter again. But back to the topic. Shiro, all she's ever known was Deadman Wonderland. She knew it as a home, and she knew Ganta from when they were younger. Now, when Ganta and Shiro first met, she did refer to him as her bestest buddy. And obviously, Ganta's not going to remember this because it was from his earlier childhood. In fact, it's her being his friend is one of his earliest memories as a kid. That's how long ago it was. But, anyways, so when he first met Shiro, she referred to him as her bestest buddy because Ganta is one of the only friends that she's ever known because, again, she's only ever been in Deadman Wonderland. That is her home. She does not know basically anything else. Now back to Rio. Now, as for Rio, he got put in Deadman Wonderland for basically sharing a crime with one of the fellow characters that I will be introducing as I get into explaining a little later. Rio was basically sharing the crime of killing his father. So he got into Deadman Wonderland to basically get someone out. But we'll get into that a little later. Rio is a thief because, again, I told you a couple minutes earlier that he stole Ganta's candy upon their first meeting, which he does eventually give back just to kind of like win him over and kind of like, sweeten him into trusting him more. But Ganta's like a big baby. He's like, oh my God, Ganta's my baby. It irritates me that all this stuff happened to him, but he ends up turning it all around. So what was I at? A little while into him being into the prison, he eventually discovers that the man that killed all of his friends actually also resigned within the prison. He resigns within G Block. Now, G Block is a piece of is in the center of the prison. There's different blocks. There's like A, B, C, D, and then G Block. Shiro, again, having lived there her whole life, takes him to G Block. And, that's when they come across my baby daddy, and Crow. That's his fighting name, Crow. But yeah, so turns out that, Crow is not the red man as Ganta refers to him. But Tamaki does discover that Ganta was blessed with the branch of sin. Now, that, as I mentioned earlier, is what the red man, the guy that massacred all of Ganta's classmates, like basically infected him with. That little virus that I told you that he basically threw onto him, that crystal that he like threw onto him, the virus, he infected him with the branch of sin. And that gave him a special ability to kind of like control his blood. Much like Katara for people who have seen Avatar, the episode where Katara was basically forced to learn bloodbending to keep Aang and Sokka from killing themselves is basically kind of like what we got going on here. they control their blood. They weaponize their blood. So if they bleed, then they have some sort of form of, fighting. So Tamaki discovers that Ganto was gifted with the branch of sin and decides to pluck him from, the regular like half of Dead Man Wonderland to the real Dead Man Wonderland. So the outside prison is basically just a camouflage for what's really going on in the facility, which is basically hand to hand combat with other people who were also infected with the branch of sin. So Tamaki is basically pinning people against each other to fight. Um, so for people who don't know how everyone else got the branch of sin, it was mentioned throughout the show that there was a red hole that kind of like found its way, that kind of like basically took over Japan. Some weird red hole basically landed on Japan and destroyed a huge part of it. And Japan was slowly recovering from it. And when that happened, in the surrounding areas, some people got infected and it kind of mixed in with their blood, thus creating the ability to control it. And that's how they kind of gave them the term infected. And so, yeah, that's how other people, such as Crow, Hummingbird, Owl, and so on and so forth, I will explain the rest of those characters a little later, all got the branch of sin. Uh, At any rate, so Ganta is introduced to this whole new world of Dead Man Wonderland. Now the prison was already messed up with the warden basically like, slicing people up left and right to basically people fighting to the death. And so, yeah. So basically the whole anime takes like a quick turn and it goes from a prison to a what's the term I'm looking for? A survival of the fittest, I guess. Anyway, so he fights Crow, he wins, Crow has to, be punished. So he plays this little game called Too Bad for the Loser or something like that, where you basically spin for a body part, and whatever body part is like that pops up on this machine gets taken. And so he rolled eye and his eye got removed. Um, I'll make another video to where I go into more depth as far as this anime a little bit later. Because again, this is my first video. So I'm trying to like still get the gist on how to, explain this to you guys. But anyways, I'm just going into the basics for you guys and I'll get into a little bit more detail later. I'll have another video with this anime a little bit later. Um, but anyways, yeah. The Too Bad for the Loser game. He is matched up with this girl named Hummingbird who turns out to be like super sweet, total babe. At least that's what she turned out like. That's what she seemed like at the beginning. But then this whole bitch like made a U-turn and she became like a whole ass psycho. And it turns out that Hummingbird was Rio's sister. Hummingbird is the reason that Rio got put into the prison in the first place. He's trying to break his sister out for killing, their dad, and so on and so forth. Turns out that their dad and their mother, who left Hummingbird for dead, was the reason the bitch turned out crazy in the first place. This headphone keeps falling out. Anyways, so yeah. So he fights Hummingbird. They discover that Hummingbird and Rio are brother and sister, and then that's revealed, and so on and so forth. Now we're going to basically touch tips with with the more important part of this series is, the escape. So there is a I keep forgetting these terms. I keep going like brain dead for a minute, for like a quick minute. But resistance. There's a form of resistance residing within Deadman Wonderland, which has like this character Owl who lost his voice as well as his wife and his unborn child. It's a whole tragic story. I will get into all of that in my next video. But yeah, so Ganta ends up meeting all these different characters and he begins to like put pieces together as far as who Shiro actually is. And he eventually remembers that that they have met before and she's a girl from his past. Now, Shiro, who I will also go into more detail in a later video, has been obsessed with Ganta ever since she was a little girl. Now, the red man concept, kind of like for those who were paying attention, kind of resembles this little tiny toy who Ganta used to play with as a kid. And like the toy and the red man both kind of look, you know, identical in a way. Just throwing that out there, but I will get more into the red man in my next video as well. But yes, so I just wanted to kind of break down some basics for my first video concerning Deadman Wonderland. I wanted to get into it with you guys. For my next video, it's going to be an entirely different anime, but I will make another Deadman Wonderland video so that I can kind of like re-break things down. If you didn't get basically what I was trying to throw at you in this video, I will get into more depth concerning the characters, the character development. Um, I will get more into basically the anime itself. I'm going to try to like do a little bit of detailing and kind of like, smooth out the edges that I just kind of crafted for you guys. But yeah, so this is my first YouTube video ever. I hope that I did a pretty good job for you guys. And if you did like my video and my description, please comment below and subscribe. If I missed anything, please let me know because I would thoroughly appreciate it. Again, this is my first video. I'm gonna try to like get this YouTube thing going. So I appreciate all of your support. Again, if I missed anything, please comment below, let me know, and subscribe. I would appreciate all the support. And with that being said, guys, it was a pleasure to be speaking with you guys. I'm gonna try to get on a more personal level with each video, and I'm going to try to make them all a little bit longer. But again, this is my first time ever doing this. It's my first time podcasting in general, but this is something that, I love and I'm really going to try to do for you guys. So if you love it, subscribe. If you don't, and I could, use some pointers, let me know down below. I would appreciate it. But with that being said, you guys, it was nice meeting you. So I will see you guys later. Bye.